So what are you against?
I'm against the corporation going to public, to the government, to the politicians, and asking them to do favors for them.
But what would you say is a favor? Because, like, for instance, the teachers union is constantly asking. The teachers unions are constantly asking for favors.
They shouldn't have that kind of right either.
Okay, so
individuals
but then the
should have rights. That's it.
No, but so the issue is, I think the kind of issue to get at here is getting rid of the government's power to play favorites. It's not should a corporation or an individual or a teachers union.
What's your solution for that?
Have very clear laws where the government only has. I doubt they're applauding for me. Where the government has, is basically relegated to police force, courts, and a military, and it can't dispense any special favors.
Well, we did that.
We did that,
and that's why we had the Great Depression.
Okay,
we did that.
I've heard this is the second time I've heard this today. So
we had limited government control up until the Great Depression.
Okay.
Then we had the Great Depression.
Okay, so this is really a wrong view, and I would really recommend it is really a wrong
correct
view.
me.
Okay, so if you look at the beginning of this country, right? So the beginning, we have a Declaration of Independence. Yes. We have a Constitution. It creates the most limited government in the history of the world.
It gives the
people
unlimited power.
Really?
It gives read the preamble to the Constitution.
I have.
You want me to read it to you?
No, I don't.
It's a paragraph. It's one.
No, I realize there's something that says the general welfare.
Very good.
Yes. And how many times does it say democracy in the Constitution?
It doesn't.
0.
So
I wonder why that is.
You're of the opinion.
You know what a republic means? Have you looked it up in the dictionary?
Yes, I have.
It's a democracy.
No, it isn't.
You want me to show it to you again?
Why would they have a different word? No, it's a constitution.
Hold on.
Okay, so let me.
Debating people that twist words around and sound like
you can find a dictionary.
They don't believe in a democracy now. The forefathers didn't believe in democracy.
How about you use your iPad in a minute? I just want to talk about a couple of these issues because we can find dictionaries with 15,000 definitions of republic. I promise you.
Okay,
go back to
what is your
Plato.
definition of us? Do you think we are anti-capitalist?
I don't. I'm trying to even get to
what
know
is your understanding?
Thomas Jefferson.
Let me just. Can we go to the issue of the history of this country? So what I'm saying is, it established the most limited government in history. If you look
it did not. Okay, this is where we disagree.
Okay, but then we have to look factually at what did the government do.
Let's go at your pace. Let's go at your pace.
So the basic idea is just we created the most limited government in history in terms of both, I believe, the documents, proclamations, but certainly in terms of the actual constitution of the government in the country. It's a very, very limited government.
That's your interpretation.
Yes, based on reading history. You have a very limited government going through the 1800s. What you have is an industrial revolution. You have an incredible period of industrial progress. The greatest creation of wealth.
We were like China. We were inexpensive labor, and Europeans used us.
I don't know what you mean by inexpensive labor, because people were richer in factories than they were on farms. Anyway, you have the greatest productive.
Of course, you can say that about China too.
I think
the Chinese are richer now than they were before we came there.
Well, now a lot of good things have happened in China.
I'm not against that. What I'm saying is, we, compared to the balance of the world, the Europeans were better off than we were. They exploited us. They put their factories here. They found ways to make cheaper products through the Americans, and they exploited us until we got wised up.
Okay, so America became the wealthiest country in the world, by around.
Just like China is becoming the wealthiest country in the world.
Okay, but then we're not being exploited. If we're becoming wealthier than everyone else, it doesn't really make sense if we're being exploited.
Yes, you can.
So we have a domestic industrial revolution.
You can become the wealthiest.
If you look at a graph, right, it's
Who became the wealthiest in America?
The American
1%.
Can I say
wrong.
one
You should look at labor statistics. No, not right now. In a minute. You had a very long one thing before. Okay, so the standard of living is skyrocketing, and then what you have is starting in 1910s, 1900s, you've got the progressive movement putting dramatically more regulation in the economy. And what happens? The Great Depression, the Fed, and the income tax, and the general increase in government intervention in the early 1900s. That's what historically correlates with the Great Depression. So if you have an alternative explanation, it's a very difficult thing to justify.
Every time I've debated folks like you who believe in laissez-faire, release everything back to let businesses run it the way they want. They'll self-regulate the free market.
All laissez-faire means is voluntary interaction.
Right.
That's it.
Okay. Free market driven. Free market driven.
Yeah.
Businesses will regulate themselves.
Voluntary individual driven.
Every time I've debated folks like that, their interpretation of history is different than mine, and this is where we separate. There's nothing I can do to change your mind, because you've read history and you've interpreted your way. Unfortunately, nothing is like 1 + 1 = 2. So everything you read, if you want to see it a certain way, you will.
Okay.
And it's the same
what
for
I think
me.
Is
I'm just as guilty as you are.
Just to sort of end on one thing to think about. if you look at it in general, the amount of government control of economies throughout history and today, you've got an extremely strong correlation between very little government control of the economy and a high standard of living.
That's complete.
Okay, break it up for me again. You're saying every time there's little control of government.
I said there's a general pattern. If you parse it out and if you look at where is the government really protecting people's rights, doing its job, having a police force, having good laws, but otherwise not doing, not getting involved, then you get the real periods of prosperity.